Hello everyone, it's Luz with Love here and welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you're a regular from my one previous video. And today we are going to be building a 1920s house. I called it a 1920s haunted, in quotation marks, house, and I'll get to why that is. But anyways, this is part of a collaboration done within a Discord server called the Simmer Squad. If you're not aware of it, definitely do join. There's plenty of fun challenges happening and also some giveaways. And yeah, I'll leave a link to the Discord server down below if you want to join, because this is part of like a little weekend collab that we're doing with the other creators from that Discord server. So the theme is back in time, into the 1920s, and other people are doing CAS videos or builds like I am, so definitely do check them out. Anyways, my idea for this house, let's get into it. So I was thinking this is a house in Brindleton Bay, which is like a nice town where a lot of, I would say quite a lot of rich people live, you know, and this is one of the rich families living there, and obviously this is back in the 1920s, so the world is very, very different. But my storyline behind why this build is as is that there lives a family with a son who went to war, because 1920s are very much post-war. Post the First World War, of course. And the son deserted along with a couple of his friends, and now the parents are hiding him and his friends in the attic. I know this is a bit of like a crazy storyline, but I do like crazy storylines in The Sims. So that's the story I am going with. And there's a lot of weird things in the house anyways. So when neighbors come and visit, they kind of think, is this house okay? You know, it's not a haunted house, but you kind of get the feeling like it could be. Have you guys ever been in a house like that? Because there's a place where I used to work as a waitress, and it definitely had like those kind of vibes. Like, I mean, I may not believe in ghosts, but like this, if this was a haunted house, I would believe it. So that was kind of the feeling that I was going for in this house. So yeah, that's the storyline. But before we get into the details of what I'm doing, I also want to apologize for one thing, and that is the footage of this speed build is not 100% complete, because when I was doing this recording yesterday, I had spent like 4 hours on it, and then my computer crashed. It crashed because I didn't have enough space on my disk, which I'm stupid enough not to check before I record. Anyways, besides that, my boyfriend did manage to recover the footage, but I did lose a part of it, and I lost a part of the build. I actually, in my game, only have the build, like the shell and the landscaping. I don't have any of the insides. So I'm gonna upload this to the gallery, but it's not gonna be furnished. So just keep that in mind. If you want to download it, go for it, but it's not furnished. Because I just can't replicate it as is, and honestly it will be kind of pathetic to go through a video and replicate everything as it is in the speed build to put it on the gallery when like I have like 20 followers on the gallery. So what is happening? Where am I building? What am I building? Okay, I'm putting down some plants now, and I think I kind of want to explain why there is such a huge driveway. So my story with this family is they care so much about appearances, okay? They have this huge driveway and a lot of plants which are kind of overgrowing because the garden is so big they just can't keep up with it, especially with their son like pretending not to exist. So yeah, there's a lot of plants, a lot of landscaping. I did put down a lot of like nice and manicured plants, but there's also a lot of like weeds growing around, just to show like, hey, the family can't really keep up with all of it. And I did cut out a lot of the landscaping. I think I only included like footage from half of it in this video, because it was just like me placing plants down for such a long time. It wasn't entertaining to watch. So I did line the pathway with like little stones. That's another part that I kind of cut out because I didn't want to bother you guys with just me putting down stones for 5 minutes, and the footage would just be way too long. Yeah, so there you can see, like, behind the house there's not really that much space. So that's because the family gives so much to appearances that they would rather have like a huge manicured front of the house with a driveway that people can see, rather than have like comfortable space for themselves. That's how much they care about appearances. And just a tip, if you are landscaping, look around the world, what trees are growing there to add into the garden. That's like my number one landscaping tip. Add the same trees that are growing in the world to your build. And also use terrain paint to kind of like, make little dirt patches around the plants, or like there you can see me kind of like lining up a little pathway. I did add a little wash tub and a clothesline. And now we are getting into the inside of the build. So now I just kind of divide it as I wanted it to be, the layout. So in this house there's a master bedroom, and then there's supposedly the boys' room, which is quite tiny, and there's one of those bookshelf doors that leads to another room next to it, which is kind of like a dumping room. Not dumping, I guess it's a bathroom. I mean, like that they dump stuff there. Whoa, boy, that wasn't the most elegant expression, was it? Anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it in the recording. You know what? Laugh at me. Laugh at me for being silly like that. We all need a good laugh sometimes. Anyways, now I'm getting into the kitchen, and the main problem I had when I was doing this is we don't have like that much furniture that would be useful for this in the game. Of course, there's like, old cupboards or old looking tables, but there's no such thing as like 1920s tables or 1920s cupboards in the game. So I did my best, but like I'm definitely in no way an expert in history, neither in decades, and like the game has its limits when it comes to this, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm just adding quite a lot of clutter onto the table. I did give them like a giant table in the kitchen dining room because I was thinking, you know what, this family really cares a lot about appearances, so they would want to have a huge entertainment space to just like impress people when they come and visit them. I added some plants, some fruit on there, and I actually put down this chandelier, which I mean, you would obviously have electricity in a house at that point, and you would very much have like a normal chandelier, and I put down the candle chandelier because like I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, people from the town really think that this house may be haunted. So besides like the obvious, there's 5 people hiding in the attic that nobody knows about, I wanted to add some other touches of like what could make this place seem like it's haunted. And one of them is like, there's most of the besides the kitchen, I think, and one room, the chandeliers are the candle chandeliers, where there's like no reason for that. The house has electricity. Another thing that I added that's kind of like, ooh, what's going on, is the little wooden hand decoration. I think it's base game. Yeah, I added that like everywhere. I think there's at least one in every room. So that's another thing that's like kind of, ooh, what's going on here? Yeah, I did kind of put this story together as I was building it, so it may come to a spot where I realize, oh my god, I may have done something that doesn't fit the story. So we'll see, maybe something like that will come, and you'll have a lot of fun laughing at me when that happens, but hopefully it won't. So now I was just decorating the dining space a little more, added some plants. I did add the vintage glamour globe bar, that you can make drinks in. I think that's a really cool item in homes like this, because I wanted to add a bar, but it kind of didn't fit in there. It was kind of awkward placing when I tried to place it down, so I didn't. and yeah, just some more like fancy cupboards, you know, rich people stuff. A lot of fancy plates and tea sets just in little cupboards and on display. So again, I did add another like painting and a couple of decoration and clutter items on this little table. Yeah, there goes one of the hands. And one of the things that I like to do in builds, like not just builds like this, in every build, is I play with the size of the items. So like you can see the little rabbit, that's usually much bigger than it is in this build, because I like to play with the different sizes of those items so it doesn't look the same in every build. Plus, some of those like statuette things, they look very big. Like, I don't know if everybody would want such a giant porcelain rabbit in their kitchen. So yeah, I just size it down so it's not as much in your face. Now I moved on to the study area, and yeah, I really wanted to make this look like there's something, there's a lot of like decor pieces, and that it makes it English, Lucy, come on. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. There's a lot of decor pieces around that make it look like, yeah, these people really, you know, right, like to surround themselves with expensive stuff. And of course there's no computer, but I added a little open book that maybe they're writing something in, another hand goes there. Yeah, a couple of statues. Really, this study is probably the most like luxurious space in the house. And I added some more big cases in the entrance hallway and little entry area. Just to warn you guys, some of the footage when I was doing this part was kind of laggy, and it was because it was a corrupted file that my boyfriend managed to save. Some of the pieces were kind of like pixelated. I think you just saw one of them there. I tried to edit all of them out, but sometimes it meant that I had to cut out a bit of me placing something down. So if, you know, the rooster just appeared on the little table by the door, some things like that. But I tried to make it blend in so that it's not annoying when you're watching it. And now I'm moving on to the living room, which I took quite a while figuring out what to do with it, because I don't know, I just kind of find big living rooms kind of awkward to furnish. There's like, if there's more than one couch, I'm kind of like, oh, what do I do? Yeah, I don't know why, but living rooms are kind of like a hard spot for me to furnish in houses. I definitely wanted them to have a big fireplace because there's like 2 chimneys on the roof, and you know, there goes another of the decoration hands. A lot of clutter, plants, statuettes. I do use these like little envelope things, the red ones, in quite a lot of my builds, because they're just like a very versatile piece of clutter. I wish we had them in more subtle colors. I know they're like a festive cultural thing. I don't want to insult any culture by trying to remember which one they're from, I'm sorry, but I know they're not meant to be just like regular envelopes. I sometimes use them as playing cards in some of my builds, but I just like to put them down because, like the 2 books that come in base game, they are just so easy to put anywhere, and it looks, you know, like it's lived in. I think we're missing a lot of items in the game that make the spaces look lived in. There you go, I just put down another one of those creepy hands. There's gonna be plenty more, I promise. Yeah, but I thought, you know what, I would put down these very blue sofas. I really dislike like I like the way I built this, but I really wouldn't want to live in this house. I really don't like this like old and rich style. You know what I mean? Anyways, I do like how it turns out, but I definitely wouldn't want to live there. I added like a little bit of those barrels that have alcohol bottles on them. They are a little more rustic than I would imagine for this house, but if you look at them from afar you can't tell. So that's what I went with, and of course another bug that I added there. But yeah, now I just added the bookshelf door into the boys' room, but I'm actually moving on to doing the master bedroom. So yeah, I use the bed from university, which I think is really good for builds like this. I feel like a lot of the beds that we have in game don't fit into, you know, like vintage inspired houses. I put a cookie jar on one of the night tables because I just found it really funny, you know. Maybe the husband sneaked a cookie jar into the bedroom because he was feeling snacky at night and forgot it there. I like to add like little quirky details like that. And yeah, just adding, in builds like this, I usually use those like little treasure chest kind of things quite a lot. I don't know what they would keep in there, maybe some treasures of theirs, but they just fit quite well in my mind. And then I wanted to clutter up those little chest of drawers. Did I add a full-size rabbit on there? Yeah, I think I added a full-size rabbit. I don't usually use this rabbit statue like full-size. I usually use it scaled down. And some more paintings. I rarely use those room dividers, but I thought it looks nicer. It's like a little, you know, dressing area. And I found it funny that I placed down that stack of books right next to the candle holder. That's like another kind of weird thing that I added to this house. I was very much aware that that would catch on fire. But I placed it down anyways because I was like, ooh, you know, spooky. And yeah, just a plenty of stuff, some of the books again, some of the plants. And I added these paintings are really creepy, like the little boys and the house. It looks very haunted to me. And so now I'm moving on, yeah, to the boys' room. And I didn't really overcomplicate it. I just added like a dresser, a mirror, a plant, you know. Like a little clock, because the boy hasn't probably been living in this room, or like he has, but he has been pretending not to live in this room. He's probably living in the attic, but like maybe he comes down sometimes to his other room, you know. But he's very much pretending not to live there. So I try to keep it kind of bare. And now this is behind the bookshelf door. And I wanted to make this kind of like the weird dumping ground room. So it's like, you know, there's a cauldron. Why? Well, maybe the mom or the boy were dabbling in alchemy, you know? Something weird. And there's an old vanity there that's got plenty of books on there. Maybe the mom had it in, you know, her bedroom, but then she decided, you know what, she doesn't want it anymore, or she wanted an extra dresser instead, so she just put it in there. There's a plant on it because of course they want to keep everything so manicured, but like this is the room where all the stuff they don't want goes. And now upstairs we are getting into, you know, the hiding space for the boys who deserted from the war. Why am I laughing about this? There's nothing funny about that. Anyways, I did try to add like much less glamorous furniture there, because I'm thinking, you know, they probably had to like find something to put up there really quickly when those boys moved in, so that you know, they had a space to sleep. So I added like an old grandfather clock as well. One of the boys is probably using suitcases as, you know, his night table, and some old paintings that they probably had downstairs, but that they decided they don't like them. I added some skill building items because I was thinking if the guys are hiding there, they're probably kind of lonely, so they have something to do this way. And now this is about the time where the footage will probably end in a second, because as I said, I didn't manage to recover all of the footage that I had of this. But I will go into screenshots, which are just outdoor screenshots. This house is, again, as I said, is up on the gallery. It's just not furnished. So do check it out. I would love to see how you furnish it if you would like to do that. And share it with me on Twitter if you do. Anyways, do check out the Discord server. I'll link it in the description below, and check out all of the amazing creations other people from that Discord have made for this challenge. Do make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because I do let my followers decide what the next videos will be. Ooh, and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? I'll see you in the next one. Bye!